What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolfbrother Mythos from Wolfbrother Hobbies, and welcome to this video. Tonight I'm representing the Legacy shirt for the Froststand Fists. But this is Wolfbrother Hobbies, and yeah, tonight I signed up for what might be more than I can chew, like I always do. It's part of the hobby experience for me, I think, at this point. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you guys had a great week. X Gear Commander, my man, happy Friday. I hope you're having an awesome weekend so far as we kick off the weekend with a Friday night. So, how is everyone out there? How are y'all doing? I'm going to give it a second for everyone, or for people to kind of trickle into the chat as we do. And yeah, then we'll get started. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing well. It was an okay week at work. I accomplished some of the things I wanted to, probably not as much as I should have or could have. And some of it was just sitting around waiting on clients. So I hate when that happens, but I mean, you can't always control things beyond, you can't always, there are always sometimes things beyond your control. Thank you so much, gorgeousness. My lovely Lily Nightfall, that's my lovely wife there in the chat. And we got Gamers with Coffee Ashley. So far, so good. That's great to hear. Evan, drinking some coffee from my N7 mug, the galaxy's greatest commander. Except for, of course, my commander, the shepherd, Puppo, laying on the floor over here. So, it has been an interesting week. I splurged a little bit this week because I got just a little extra money this week. So, one of the things I've been going down the rabbit hole in is looking at the last several starter decks for Yu-Gi-Oh! Have been so good that it's been possible to... hey, good evening to Greg as well. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. The last several starter decks from Yu-Gi-Oh! Have been so good that it's been possible to buy 3 copies of said decks and basically have your starting point or your basis for a deck. Maybe sprinkle in a couple of staples, but the deck itself is good to go. And so one of the rabbit holes I dove into is the Crimson King for Red Dragon Archfiend. It contains a deck called Red Dragon Archfiend, which is the spiritual successor to Red Eyes Black Dragon. And I've always liked it, but I've never made such a deck before myself. But as a Red Eyes fan, I've always been interested, and I figured a starter deck is a cheap and cheerful way to get started on that deck type. In fact, you can find these Crimson King box sets in Walmart's. I saw them the other day, marked down to $8 a piece. So that means to get 3 boxes, you're looking at $24 to get a solid deck to start with, which is pretty good. I mean, that's pretty cheap. So, anyways, that is something I will be doing soon. But it's not all card game news this week, as it has been the last couple of weeks. So, some of you know last year I went to a local convention that started last year called the War Dome in New Caney, Texas. And I participated in something called a Grand Narrative event for 40K. And this is the logo for the War Dome local gaming convention. And I came away with the Grand Narratives local best sportsman, which I'm super proud of. I'm glad that I was fun to play with and that, people enjoyed my company. I am so sorry. That is not a professional streamer there. Bad YouTuber. Silence that real quick. All right. But yeah, it was a great experience. The narrative event was so fun. I met a lot of great people, and the narrative games were exactly what I want from 40K. A less try hard, more enjoyable, just fun experience, more fun scenarios, not necessarily just standing on circles as, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with more competitive games and, the very traditional way of standing on circles. But I don't know, I've just found the narrative style missions to be more fun. And honestly, I just found the caliber of players I was playing with to be more fun individuals sometimes than when I go to, tournaments or, more competitive events. Which I've stopped going to competitive events. Maybe one day I'll pick it back up. But so, yeah, so if anyone's interested, next month in April, you can look it up online. But yeah, the War Dome, New Caney, Texas, local convention that I will be attending. I had so much fun last year. I would love to go again this year. So, well, not only would love to, I got the okay from my gorgeous wife there in the chat. And so I picked up my ticket to the narrative event, and I committed and to Custodes. I've been humming and hawing since it was announced, I think in January, that this event was returning to the local area. Which army I was going to take. Atlas had asked me about it at the time, and I'm like, I had a really good time with my Space Wolves last time, but it was kind of a decent sized army, especially with a lot of big models like Thunderwolf Cavalry. I took 12 Thunderwolves, which is a me thing, It's not like the events problem or anything like that. But I'm like, and the event I went to before that was a tournament with my Imperial Guard. And so again, just a lot of transporting things, tanks, bodies. They took a lot of bodies. And so anyways, I think I took 90 bodies with my Imperial Guard. And just like when I transported, I had a couple of antennas break off with the Imperial Guard army. That's normal. I had some things break off that I had to repair over the last year for my Space Wolves. A couple, a couple of hammers or shields, or one Thunderwolf came completely off the base. A couple of the dreadnoughts. And I was like, what? This time I think I just want to take a nice low model count army and not have as much to transport, and just put down a small body count army on the table. And yeah, just, roll dice, have fun, and not have to worry too much about the logistics, right, or the transport. And so anyways, so I was thinking about the different things. Orcs would be fun, my guard would be fun. I've been really enjoying my White Scars as Dark Angels lately. But overall, I was like, I want to go with low body count and stick with Custodes. Now that's a problem for me, because the Custodes army is not finished or complete yet. But that does give me, I have been lacking the hobby mojo lately. That does give me some motivation to get back to painting. So yeah, over the next 5 weeks, you guys are going to see me doing a few more paint videos and trying to get my objective done of the 2,000 point army I will end up taking to the Grand Narrative. I know I'm the Wolf Brother, but I took the Space Wolves last year. I gave them a good run. I had a ton of fun. But I think this year I'm going Custodes. A couple of things. So this so far is my entire painted Custodes army, and you can see it's not very big. I have 2 dreadnoughts. I have a Telemon dreadnought. I have a repaired Galatis dreadnought. It's a model that broke last year and needed to be repainted. Well, repaired and repainted. I have one squad of Sagittarum. They are the Custodes with the guns. They're like little heavy bolters that each custodian is carrying. I have 1, 2, I have a squad of Custodian Guard. Some of them have spears, and I think let's see, 1, 2, 3 of them have spears, and 2 of them have swords. And then I have 1 unit of wardens with the power axes. Now I know stat-wise the spears are better, but I just think that the axes look cooler. So we made the rule is cool choice, and we went with axes. See if we can block off some of my face back here to get this to shore up. Focus, focus. No. Well. Still don't want to focus, just focusing on my hand. Okay, well. Anyways, I think the axes just look pimp, so my wardens all have axes. Leading them, I have a Kyria Draxus to go with the Custodian Guard. I have a Valerian. Bought for me by my gorgeous wife. And I have a Blade Champion. I'm not really happy with the effect I did on the sword, so those are going to get repainted. I tried something new. I'm not sure I care for it. So they'll get painted over. Maybe. That's growing on me a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. They might get painted over. Like the purple, nice army. What's howlin'? How's it going, brother? Thank you. I like, you know, the one thing a lot of people dislike about Custodes is painting them, because it's just like a lot of gold. It becomes very monotone, especially when you're painting a lot of them. And anyways, I wanted to make mine more visually interesting, so I've kept the gold for the majority of the armor plates, but like the inner plates, you know, the under, you know, a lot of the chest, the thighs, you know, the fists, the non-gauntlet part of the arms, you know, I made all of that blue, and I left, you know, the gold for things like pauldrons, boots, you know, the weapon cases, helmets, that kind of stuff. And so, like, the gold is there and present, but I wanted to make, I don't know, just make them pop, make them more interesting, I think. They don't look very Custodes, because, you know, there's much less of that gold, but I feel like they look more interesting this way. So basically, I have one troop choice, the Custodian Guard, one ranged option with the Custodes with guns, one really fierce group, a melee group of Custodes wardens, 2 dreadnoughts, 3 special characters. It's not a huge list I have completed, so I definitely need to paint more before the event comes around. And I do think I need to fix the swords on the Blade Champion. And, you know, I shouldn't nitpick about things like fixing the energy effect on the swords when I have a pretty big list of things to paint, but you know, it's going to bother me if I don't fix them. One of the things that's going to eat up a lot of points, I just threw out all the gold. Hey, exactly what Ashley said, brother. You know, paint it the way you want it. One thing that I think will definitely eat up some points, I'm going to do one of these grav tanks, the Caladius grav tanks, with this better las cannon on top here. The only thing that bothers me is my magnets are too smooth and it keeps rotating. So I've got to do something about that. I magnetized it to the thing, and I think I might just end up gluing the magnets together or something, because it swivels like heck every time I pick it up. It bothers me. Maybe I'll just deal with it, but yes, the tank, the Caladius, will definitely eat up some points. Also, I have 6 bikes to paint. Not that I know what I need yet. I haven't worked out any lists yet, so I may not need all 6 bikes or whatever. But to paint, I have 6 bikes. I have here 1, 2, I have 3 half-painted Terminators. So I've got the gold pretty much mostly done on 2 of them. These I had on the road with me and painted in a hotel room when I was traveling for work. And then I have the third one that still needs its gold applied. So it's just black and blue right now. I have an extra Warden. If I decide that I need it, I can paint it up. The top of his axe has come off, though. That'll need some replacing. Got kind of battered around in my travel case. So yes, I have 3 Terminators to paint right now. I have 6 bikers to paint somewhere. Do not glue the magnetics. Okay. It's cool that it moves. Thank you. Thank you for the advice, X-Gear Commander. It bothers me when I don't have control of things. So just the fact that it rotates on its own sometimes bothers me a little bit. I'll live with it, though. I'll live with it. So yeah, I have the Custodes, I have the 6 bikes, and then here on the desk, I have a couple other projects, like Mr. Half-Primed Trajan Valoris. I don't know if I'll be taking Trajan. Last year, there was a limit of only having 1 named character. I didn't see that requirement this go around, but that is definitely something I need to talk to the TO and figure out, because most of my Custodes leaders are all named. I have Trajan Valoris, I have Inquisitor Kyria Draxus, I have an unnamed Blade Champion, but the reason, if I need to sub Valerian for another, either Valerian or Kyria, if I need to sub one of them in for a non-named character, I have also assembled at some point a regular shield captain that I can put together. I'm not even sure if shield captains can take the axe. I thought the axe was cool, and again, I know the axe is not the best loadout, but I just really enjoy the way the power axes look, especially when you apply the energy effect to them. So, yeah. X-Gear Commander, I know you're local to us. You know, if you are feeling an inkling, to come check out the convention next month, it's like the 26th and 7th. That would be cool to see you there, man. And Hellworks, I know you're a couple hours away, but man, it would be so cool if you could come up for the weekend. Maybe join the narrative event, to get back into 40K in a big way with the brother. It's in New Caney. I think. Let me double check for you, but I want to say it's over by the library in New Caney, just off 59. Hey, thank you so much, Steve, from Who Took My Dice. I appreciate you, my brother. You're off on Sunday. Hey, that'd be cool, man. Yeah, you can swing by, check the convention out. I love that every time I Google the War Dome, it says, "Did you mean wardrobe?" No, I did not mean wardrobe. Yes, it says the Atrium Center in New Caney, Texas. So, wish me and Greg were closer. Hey, you know, if y'all decide y'all want to take your vacation and drive up here for the convention just to participate in a 40K tournament, I wouldn't hold that against you, Greg and Ashley. And Who Took My Dice, Steve? I know you've probably gone off to bed now, but hey, man, if you want to roll down from Canada for a narrative event, I'd love to have you. There's definitely, I hope basically all the same people that were there last time are there this time because it was such a great crowd of people that were there. And I'm really looking forward to hanging out with them again. In fact, can I show you guys this? We'll go to articles and art. We'll go to see if I can put this on Chrome. Y'all pay no mind to the amount of prawns that I have open. Let's see, Chrome. Full art. The War Dome. Here we go. All right, so we got the War Dome here. They've got all kinds of stuff at this convention. You can see they've got some Warhammer the Old World. They've got the Warhammer 40K GT for anyone who wants to play competitively. If role-playing games are more your thing, there's going to be Pathfinder and Starfinder. Also, I'm going to skip a little bit for those who are into the RPGs because I saw down here there's going to be some Vecna Eve of Ruin for the new 2024 Dungeons and Dragon rules. Very cool. There's going to be a competitive GT for Age of Sigmar. There's going to be a Mordheim event. I know some of our friends like Roxy, big fans of Mordheim. There's going to be some Star Wars Legion, like our friend Minnie Warmutt likes to play. There's the 40K narrative event. I'm a big fan of that one. Anyone who's into the 30K rule set, I never got into the 30K rules, but there's a narrative event for 30K as well. Flames of War, Team Yankee. If anyone's into Flames of War or Team Yankee games, like I know Greg and Ashley enjoy those from time to time. There's a Pokemon double box tournament for card game lovers, and also Lorcana if anyone's into the Disney card game. So, which I'm kind of surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. Disney does well at pretty much everything, but the Lorcana scene is getting pretty popular in my area. So just clicking on my favorite. You guys want to see something else? Let me know. I'll probably click on it. But checking on what I'm going for, the 40k narrative event. It's a grand narrative event. Bring your best 3 lists, one at 1,000 points, one at 1,500 points, and one at a 2,000 point list. All your big toys are allowed and encouraged, even those units that have gone to Legends. That's one of the things I really enjoyed about this last year, is that, I was able to break out my Leviathan Dreadnought and my Contemptor Dreadnoughts and my Sakaran, because those are units that I absolutely love, and of course, because they're Legends units now. Not everybody likes to play with them. Now, granted, I have some great friends like Brother Atlas and Freak who don't mind typically if I bring Legends units, but it's cool that this place in particular likes it. And I just realized now, because I was looking at it from the wrong side, that I just went through all of those and y'all couldn't see none of it. Let's try that again, shall we? Nope. Is it Alt? There we go. All right, let's go back so you can actually see what we're looking at, okay? Okay, War Dome. Different player packets you can get. A packet for the narrative event's not up yet, but it's pretty cool. They've already got like the player packet out for, say, the GT if you were going to the competitive side. It's got the different TOs that you'll be working with. It's got the event schedule, specific facts and erratas for the tournament, the terrain layouts. So that's pretty cool. It's very thorough, and you can actually plan your competitive play around the guidelines that they've put out a month in advance, which is pretty cool. And then I was showing you down here, the Old World event, 40k GT if you want some competitive play, Pathfinder, Starfinder, Age of Sigmar GT, Mordheim, Star Wars Legion. The best one, the 40k narrative event. 12 people signed up so far, which is pretty fun. How many people signed up for the GT, does it say? 45. The 3 here plus 45 more. So it's going to be a big GT. Say a 40k narrative event. It shows 3 of us here and plus 12 more. That's going to be a big event. Oh yeah, I need to not do that. All right. Horus Heresy narrative. Flames of War. Vecna, Eve of Ruin. Gotta love some D&D action. Pokemon and Lorcana. Or Lorcana, rather. So, yeah, I'm super excited. Heading to bed. Greg doesn't feel too well. Man, I hope Greg gets to feeling better soon. Y'all have a great rest tonight and an amazing weekend. And like most conventions, last time I was there, they did all kinds of prizes. They did I think like an MVP prize. They did a best sportsman, as you saw. They did best painted. The person who won the narrative event best painted last year was a guy with a gorgeous Blood Angels army, and he did it in the style kind of the where you start with like a rusty brown, and then you build up layers on top of that, and you kind of leave that rusty color along any hard edges. So instead of like edge highlighting, it's got that kind of rusty color. It's kind of like a weathering on all the edges. So I thought that was really cool. And just gradually building up from that dark rusty brown to like, dark layers of red, mid layers of red, brighter layers of red, and so it all pops, but there's a clear transition, but with like a natural kind of weathering effect. It looked real good. So, and that guy was on my team, and between his Blood Angels, jump packing in, and my Wolfguard Terminators teleporting in, we helped hold the final objective at the end last year for the very last game, like the full Chaos side versus the um, uh, the full Chaos side versus full Imperium side. Oh, and the narrative event does have a name. Let me go to buy tickets, even though I already bought a ticket. I think it says it in the little like purchase packet. $40K narrative event. About the 40K narrative event is called The Death of Petrix. So that's going to the war zone is going to be called Petrix. Oh, they've got a oh man, I'm going to pull this back up. They've got more. All right, let's see. We'll go back to articles and art. Good, good. Already loaded up. Time and location. It shows you guys New Caney, Texas. About the event and the show more. They've got a whole thing here for us. The Death of Petrix is going to be the name of this narrative event. It is the Era Indominus. In the Cicatrix Maledictum has torn the Imperium asunder, leaving countless worlds at the mercy of pirates, raiders, and worse. One such world is Petrix, located to the galactic north bordering the halo stars in the Segmentum Obscurus. The planet was taken by forces of Abaddon the Despoiler 3 solar cycles ago, but the Imperium struck out to retake it 1 solar year ago. One of Primarch Gilliman's Gladius fleet set course to confront the forces of chaos and their allies on the planet's surface, gaining a foothold on the 5 planets' moons to stage their assault, and fierce fighting broke out across the surface of the moon and the planet. Though the forces of the Gladius won many victories, the fight came to a standstill at the seat of power, the capital. This is where we last left off. This is so cool because what they're describing there is the last narrative event we did last year. This is where we last left off. Do the great and terrible things are brewing on and around Petrix. War Master Abaddon of the Black Legion was infuriated by the development of Imperial victories across Petrix, even in the face of the capital holding to a stalemate, swearing that if the forces he had there cannot hold it, no one will. He has sent the Ark of Omen, Face of Death, given to Chaos Lord Morbus of the Purge to destroy Petrix in a great sacrifice to the Dark Gods. The Ark is orbiting in system, but is waiting on a resupply of munitions to do its unholy work, leaving the Imperial forces and their allies launching daring raids directly into the Chaos fleets, trying to stop the resupply while the ground forces continue to harry the traitor forces. Inquisitors of the Ordo Xenos have been doing research with the help of the Mechanicum on the moon of Petrix, and that the Imperial base of operations sits on, and they have found signs of Necrontier technology dormant below the surface. A great energy source has been located underground, powering what they cannot tell yet, though the forces of chaos have noticed their presence. Will you join the Gladius forces to attempt to save the day, or will you pledge your armies to the War Master and destroy it all? Join us this April to decide the fate of Petrix. That's so cool. Army size, bring an order of battle totaling no more than 3,000 points. Games day 1 will be played between 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000 points, so this list will allow you to adjust to the needs of the mission being played. Day 2 will be a mega battle using your entire force. Oh my gosh. I could possibly have 3,000 points? There's definitely no way I don't even think I own 3,000 points of Custodes. So whatever we don't fit in this 3,000 point list, we'll just throw in a knight. We'll make up the difference there. Charles, hello. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Charles, fun story. I was so inspired by your by you showing off your decks. I tried to record a deck list, and I just got to chatting and accidentally recorded a 40-minute video. So I deleted that, and I'm going to be trying to re-record that this weekend. You know me, I just get to chatting, and I don't even realize how much time is passing. Books, tools, toys. Please have physical copies of your Order of Battle, Codex, dice, measuring tape on hand for this event, as we cannot promise to have extras. If you forget one of those things, check the vendor hall, as they might have what you need. Now here we go. Epic heroes and named characters. Only one of each named character is allowed at the event, so sign up early and secure yours. Other epic heroes like Catan shards are allowed to be taken by more than one player. If you have questions regarding this, feel free to reach out. All right, so I am going to need to decide if I'm taking Valerian or if I'm taking Kyriadraxis. I think it's probably going to be Kyriadraxis, but also my Valerian looks so cool, though. We'll see. Legends units. Units that fall under the Legends category are completely allowed. Please bring a printed data sheet for them, as most people aren't going to be familiar with these units. Hobby expectations. All models are expected to be WYSIWYG and painted at least to battle-ready standards, 3 colors and basic. This is a narrative experience, so it helps make sure your army adds to that experience for everyone involved. We want people fully immersed in what's going on in a narrative event. 3D printing models and parts are allowed if they follow the above rule. Let your creativity run wild and bring the army you want to this event. We would love to see it, which is so good to hear, because my my tank here is indeed a printed one. All right, that's awesome. Well, I may pop into the shop tomorrow and check in with the local TO to see if Kyriadraxis is taken. All right, back to solo chat. I was on Miniature Market, bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff on sale. Oh, so tempting. Like 2 boxes of those new booster packs for $100, or a booster box and some starter decks. Nice. Speaking of starter decks, I have been down a rabbit hole lately, Charles, because recently I built a deck out of buying 3 of the brand new Blue Eyes White Dragon starter decks, because they got new support out just last month. And so I bought 3 of those and made a pretty good deck out of those 3 starter boxes. I think I have only added 2 cards. One of them is called Preparation of Rites, which just lets me more consistently pull, because I like using the Ritual Dragon, the Chaos Max version of Blue Eyes. It lets me search for the Ritual Monster and Ritual card, so I can more consistently play Chaos Max Dragon, which is pretty cool. That's one card I added. I'm sorry, 3 cards. The other one was Book of Moon, because if you attack with Chaos Max, if it attacks a defense position monster, it can do double piercing damage. So you get piercing damage and then times 2. Piercing, for anyone who doesn't know, is typically if a monster's in defense position. You don't take any damage if they're in combat. Piercing, however, deals damage whatever isn't absorbed by, if your attack is higher than that monster's defense, the extra damage goes to the player even though they're in defense position. That's what piercing is. So getting that times 2, it just seems like a great way to lay in a good bit of extra damage, especially since Chaos Max Dragon is like 4,000 attack, and so getting double that is just going to be a pretty great way to get in some extra damage. Plus, Book of Moon is just great utility in general. If your opponent has like a really super strong monster that you can, that might have an effect or might have even just a lot of power that might be coming your way, Book of Moon will just put it down in defense mode. It's not even face up anymore, so it can't be interacted with. It can't activate any abilities. It's just out of play for that turn, basically. And so Book of Moon is another one I added. A, for extra piercing damage, and B, just for pretty good like utility or defensive plays. And then the third card I added is a card called Red Crimson Dragon, I think. Crimson Dragon? Red Crimson Dragon? I think it's just called Crimson Dragon. Yes, just Crimson Dragon. And the reason why is, the reason for adding this card is because one of the mechanics the new Blue Eyes deck does is tag out for a different monster in your extra deck, but it's destroyed at the end of the next turn. Well, if you do that with this card, the Crimson Dragon, you tag out for another dragon, and then you can send this one back to your extra deck to tag out for another one. Crimson Dragon's no longer on the field, so it won't get destroyed, and whatever you tagged out from this one, it stays around. So by tagging for another dragon, and you can tag upwards for like a bigger dragon. Let's say I have a level 12 out I can copy. I can summon another level 12 out, and that one can stay around. No need to worry about being destroyed. So new a couple of years ago. A couple years ago, new for me. I need 24 decks for my single elimination tournament. Need about 4 decks rebuilt. That's cool. Mech Lords. I love Mech Lords. I used to run a couple of Mech Lords in my Cyber Dragon deck. Back before there was as much Cyber Dragon support as there is now. So the other some of the other cards that I filled, the Cyber Dragon deck with at the time, because it works best when you're synchronizing with other machines, is Mech Lord cards. And I had like Mech Lord Weissel and Mech Lord Granel in my deck at the time. Mini War Mutt. I have a bicycle card deck. How does that work? It depends on what you're playing. My lovely wife has a beautiful collection, a pretty large collection of regular playing cards. She also plays, Yu-Gi-Oh, and she used to play Magic. But she also has just a huge collection of playing cards. A lot of them bicycle brand, but not all of them. But just like ones from different places, ones in different art styles and artworks. Some a little fancier than others. Some were like, limited prints and stuff like that, or crossovers with different media and stuff like that. Those were pretty cool. Bridge, Pinochle Canasta. There's a card game that was popular in high school called Egyptian Rat Screw. And Spoons was another one. Those were ones that we played a lot. I have terrible reflex time, though, so my ability to play Spoons was terrible. Go Fish, yeah, that's another one. Maleficence. And zombie decks. Zombie decks were always fun. Those sound really cool, Charles. Oh, but what I was saying before is that being that I built such a good deck for Blue Eyes out of the starter decks, I looked back and apparently it's been like over the last 2 years that Konami's done a really great job putting together starter decks that are so good and such good synergy. You can basically buy 3 of the starter decks, maybe sprinkle in a couple of staples, and you've got a solid deck. So I had a little extra money from some extra work I've done, and I got 3 copies of Crimson Dragon. It's a Red Dragon Archfiend deck, kind of a spiritual successor to Red Eyes Black Dragon. And yeah, so I will be assembling a deck out of this. You know, like I said, maybe throw in just a couple of staples. The Miniatures Paintbrush. Miniatures Paintbrush last week, I think it was, came out with a great tutorial for one of the big wigs, one of the great commanders of the Deathwing, Belial. And if you go over to the Miniatures Paintbrush channel, you can check out that tutorial. And for people who, not everybody likes airbrush tutorials. Well, this one is a all hand brush tutorial. So go check out the Miniatures Paintbrush. You can either see them there in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay, check out the links, the Friends of Wolfbrother Hobbies, in the link tree below. You'll be able to find the Miniatures Paintbrush, and you can go check out his tutorials. He does great tutorials. Blue Eyes, Ancient Rituals, a must. Oh yeah, it's funny because I was never really into Blue Eyes decks before, in the older days, but I don't know, just this time I saw that I could build a solid Blue Eyes deck on the cheap out of 3 starter decks, and so I was just like, you know what, let's do it, and I love the deck now. So yeah, it's funny because most people are just focusing on like the big power, first turn kill plays, and I'm like, man, I want to summon the Ritual Monster. Is it the best? Maybe not. I like it though. It can still do some of the strategies that a lot of other people are doing with it. It can still do like the first turn synchros and stuff like that. Put out a couple of negates. It does still have some of the hand traps, not as many. Most people run 13 hand traps in the new Blue Eyes deck. I think I took out 3. So I think I run 10. No, I think I took out 4 because I think I'm at 9. I think it stayed in the single digits. So anyways, it's probably a little less competitive than most people make that deck to be, but I just want to play it in a way that I have fun with, If I want to start taking it to tournaments and stuff later, then it's a solid deck. If you do the Structured Dark version, if I wanted to make it tournament worthy, I would probably need to add in a more modern engine underneath it. Like some people use the Primar archetype to boost it in the current meta. But right now, I'm not worried about meta. I'm just worried about having fun. My deck from 12 o'clock high got great airplayed photos. Go fish. Bloody Knuckles. Oh yes. Oh yes. Man, I think with both Spoons and Egyptian Rat Screw, you can definitely get some Bloody Knuckles playing those. As I can tell you with slow reflexes, I can attest to the fact that you can get Bloody Knuckles playing these games. Alright, while I'm sitting here running my mouth, so that is the big news, is me signing up for the event, the narrative event, going to the convention in New Caney, Texas. To get there, I will need to paint up 3 Terminators, 1 Grav Tank. I have a whole unbuilt version of the Dreadnought that's got the spear instead of the sword and shield. Its name escapes me at the moment. And I don't know if I'll need that though. 3 Dreadnoughts seem like a little overkill. Probably a couple more generic shield captain, since I'm only allowed one named character. Or, actually, maybe one shield captain and maybe a second blade champion. That would be cool. So shield captain, a blade champion, 3 terminators, 6 bikes, and 1 grab tank, and a partridge in a pear tree. So I've got my work cut out for 5 weeks. That, especially since I've painted very little this year, I think I have my work cut out for me. But right now, my Amazon deck has some nice cards, but it's just a road bump in front of a Leopard 2. Leopard 2. Leopard 2. Now, I remember the Amazon Tiger. The Leopard 2 is not ringing any bells. I do remember one of the things that the Amazonists used to do that would kick my butt kind of frequently is they put out, what is it, the Amazon Spellcaster, who would, German-made battle tank. Okay. Amazon Spellcaster, I think it was, that would flip your attack and your defense. And so suddenly your monsters just weren't as strong as they were a minute ago. Oh, man. Alright, so I was kind of trying to take advantage of the sharp angles on these power swords and just kind of highlight the core of that pink, which it just comes off way too pink, and the solid color without a very good transition is just making it look too candy colored. And so right now I'm glazing on a dark blue purple called Imperial Blue. And once I do that for a couple of, I'll glaze that a couple of times, and then I will break out the airbrush and put in a more traditional, my more normal kind of trademark, across the blade style energy effect. But as Miniatures Paintbrush often says, hey, I tried something new. It didn't quite work out, but it was a learning experience, and yeah, now I know that is, maybe not a technique I want to use for power swords in the future. Or if I choose to revisit it again in the future, and try and make it look a little different, that'll be an option for the future. Yeah, amen to that. Paint bravely, right? Man, the cards I'm playing right now keep spawning zombies. Oh! Zombicide is such a great game. Oh, Mina Warmut, for our lovely viewers, can you please remind me what the time is of our next live Zombicide game, so that way we can go ahead and start advertising it to these beautiful people, in case any of them would like to come watch us play. It's all about learning and getting better. Exactly, and of course, if we can help it, making some stuff look cool along the way. By the way, something you'll see if you do go check out his Belial tutorial, something you'll see Rob just trying, he's quote unquote just trying something, and he decides to freehand. Okay, you're going to see like a multiple trick pony here, not a one trick pony. You're going to see him attempt to freehand a non-metallic, a not logo. What are they called? Space Marines. Chapter symbol on the back of the Dark Angel's cloak in non-metallic gold. He's just trying something. And does it work out? Does it come out in a way that looks like a cloth fabric, or a way that looks like non-metallic gold? You're going to have to go watch the tutorial to see him try. Okay, I've been sitting here glazing for a bunch of layers now, and actually, now that it's toned down that brightness, that thing I was trying to do with making the center kind of glow, it's actually looking a little better, actually. And it doesn't look, it no longer looks like a solid stripe. I'll probably still come back in and airbrush it, but if I decide to leave it here, it looks way better than it did 2 minutes ago. So I could honestly, yeah, you can see there, got like that vibrant. Now, of course, I've been glazing it for about, I don't know, 12 thin layers there. So, you know, if we give it a minute to dry, it'll probably dry a little bit darker than that. You know, your glazing is always brighter than your final color. But yeah, you can still see kind of that pink at the core center of the sword, you know, with that darker purple around it. It's kind of what I was going for to begin with. Maybe I just stopped a step early last time. Like I said, I may go back and airbrush it, but if I decide to just matte varnish it up there, it's not looking too bad. I always try something that scares me, man. Okay, everybody, March 30th, the end of the month. 4 p.m. Central Time on the Gamers with Coffee channel, we will be playing some Zombicide live, basically during the Gamers with Coffee show. So yeah, come join us, come watch us play, heckle us. You know, when one of us is the first one to die, you know, feel free to heckle us. But yeah, just join us as we have a good time playing one of our all-time favorite board games, Zombicide. Well, you know, speaking for myself anyway, it's one of my favorite all-time board games. But from what I gather, I'm pretty sure the rest of the group, you know, are fans of it as well. My new 15mm troops number about 350 figures and some giant weasels too. Interesting. Giant weasels in the army. You know what? I actually find that really cool. But, you know, I'm also the guy who plays with, you know, a bunch of oversized wolves in my army. So, in my oversized wolves in my sci-fi army. George Foreman just passed away. Holy crap. Am I going to the 40K tournament on Saturday, the 29th, at the Comic Vault? I am not. I have been out of the game for a few months. I haven't played since like November. Well, let me rephrase that. 2 weekends ago, I played a 500-point game with Freak. But other than that, I haven't played since like November. I'm really rusty. And yeah, I need some warm-up time just to go back to the narrative event. Definitely not ready for competitive play yet. Now, granted, I may use the narrative event, you know, as practice to, you know, maybe go visit some. It's only a 1,000-point game. How far is the Comic Vault from me? If you're rusty, I'm corroded. No, it's because I'm still on Bing. Google. Weston Highway 6. Okay. Sorry, I'm so quiet. I have used MapQuest in a hot minute. All right. Higher risk reimbursement. It's about a 40-minute drive. It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, it might be worth hitting up. Sounds like heresy. 1,000-point game, 29th, Saturday. That's next Saturday, right? I feel like oh, no, next Saturday I have a game with Atlas. We're going to be warming up for the convention. We're going to be talking about our lists. Brother Atlas is going with me, by the way, to the War Dome, just like he did last year. I think, like, don't get me wrong, I met a lot of great people last year, had a brilliant time. But I also think having somebody that I'm already friends with there definitely helped add to the experience. So it was very cool. So I'm really excited that he's going to be going with again. Especially since I know a 2-day event is kind of a big commitment. But I was like 29th. 29th. Something going on the 29th. Oh, wait. That's the game. Yeah, we're going to warm up with the smaller list just to kind of get a feel for our armies again, especially since not only have neither of us played since like November, but he hasn't. Well, like I said, I have a 500-point game, but I haven't played my Custodes since November, and I've only had one game of 40k in general since November, and also he hasn't played his guard since the new codex. So we just want to kind of get a feel for things, see how drastically different things are. I am sure that the pivot rule came out after the last event that we went to, and so we'll probably have to just be more cognizant of the pivot rule. But hey, power slide OP, right? As long as I keep power sliding, I should be okay. But yeah, just small things like that, just things that have changed since we last went to an event, or since we haven't summoned the Inquisition. Yeah, I'm really, if it's allowed, I think I'm really going to make Kyriadraxis my one character to have. If not, though, I'll be taking Valerian because I think he looks sharp. I think one of the things or the reason I like my Valerian though is I put a different helmet on him. I always thought the Colonel Guile flat top head Valerian came with just looked too stiff. So I ended up putting the Blade Champion helmet on him. and he's kind of like looking off towards the side where he's drawing his dagger, you know. And I just think it looks so much cooler with the Blade Champion helmet. So, you know, maybe I'll take Valerian. But Kyriadraxis with that double tap on the Guardians is so good. I mean, if the Guardians still double tap, I know they've made some changes recently with the last balanced data slate for the Custodian Guard. So really, okay, I finally got you to focus on the models. Now you won't go back to my face. Oy vey. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Maybe I just need to sit closer. No? Still not going to focus on my face? Be careful what you wish for, right? I tried for a while to get it to focus on my mini. Now it won't focus on me. Well, what if we do the white paper trick? Oh my gosh, that worked. Hey, all right. Smash that like button. Thank you so much, guys. Summon the Inquisition. Your potato is being pissy. It does that sometimes. It does that from time to time. So, I talked Yu-Gi-Oh! News. Aside from, I think the Crimson Dragon I showed you guys is the last piece I need for my Blue Eyes deck for now. Like I said, if I decide to take it competitive, I will probably end up picking up pieces of the Primate engine, but I doubt it because A, I doubt I'll go get competitive with Yu-Gi-Oh! And B, I just don't want to pay competitive prices for things like the Primate engine. For instance, it's going to get a reprint soon, but just one card that typically runs 3 in the engine, it's called Primate Lordly Load, is a card that's like between 60 and 70 bucks right now. And my brother, Darklight Dreamer, actually pulled one in a pack. So I'm like, dude, he offered it to me because I'm running Blue Eyes, but I'm like, dude, that is $70 for a card. I'm not taking that from you. You know, I'm like, go sell it and make your money, because he bought a box. That was his thing. He ever since we were young and playing the game, he's like, I want to be one of those people that just open a whole box, you know, just pack after pack. So he had that experience, and he drew that as the expensive card from his pack. And I'm like, dude, you can make all of the money back on this whole box if you sell this one card. You don't want to spend the money, all that money on cards, because you want to spend more money on Gundam. Oh man, I am looking forward to the Gundam game coming out, not going to lie. And the Gundam tabletop game that's supposed to come out this summer, I'm looking forward to all of that. Lupus, good morning, brother. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm really excited. Speaking of Gundam, so the last 2 weeks was Vampire. This week is Win. I'm not sure when this summer. It's either June or July. But yeah, the Gundam games are supposed to come out this summer. I think early summer, because like right now is the beta for the card game. So I think early summer, like May, I think, is supposed to be the card game's full release, and then a few months later, like I want to say July, it could be June, but June or July is supposed to be the tabletop game launch. Allegedly. So we'll see. By the way, make sure you guys check out our amazing sponsor, Paint Minis Live. They've got an amazing selection of dice, RPG books, and my favorite brand of paints, of course, which is the Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl paints. Definitely, like I said, the Paint Minis Live website supports me. Pro Acryl Monument Hobbies doesn't support me, but I don't mind telling you guys that Pro Acryl for the last, I think, 2 years has been my favorite brand of paints to work with. I think it's June for the mini game. Very cool. And Hellworks, being a hobby hero, did order some paints from PML using the Wolfbrother Hobbies link, which I super appreciate. So you can see there is a link there in the chat. If you click on that link and order any of the hobby supplies there, uh, definitely at no extra cost to yourselves, it does help the channel. And most importantly, it lets my sponsor, Paint Minis Live, know that I sent you there. So I think that's the most important part about clicking that link. It just lets them know, hey, I sent you. So a couple of things. Like I said, D&D is coming up this weekend, and I have already, I started, so I need to catch you guys up on, I think this is like episode 13 that we're on now, or something like that. So I need to do a recap of the first 13 episodes for you guys that I've been planning to do for a while, because I recently talked about bringing D&D content to the channel. But last week I got approval from everybody in the game to start recording the sessions, and recording them and then being able to edit them and put them up on YouTube. So you guys are going to soon get to hear just our live role play. Of course, I'll cut out any downtime or quiet parts, so hopefully you'll just get the highlights of the game. And I think it'll be fun, for you guys to be able to hear the story unfold with us. So I've got one 4-hour episode ready to go. I plan on doing an intro video to introduce you to our cast, and then a couple of recap videos maybe to catch you up on how we got to where we are in the story. And then have a great night, Hellworks, my brother. Thank you so much for joining me, and you rest well, brother. And once I catch you guys up in the story, I'll be able to start putting out, podcast-style episodes of our D&D sessions, which is going to be fun. And then also, Darklight and I used to be part of a couple of text-based role play groups on like Yahoo groups and stuff like that back in the day. And we decided, because we've been having trouble getting that D&D group together. That was the one where I was playing a warlock, and then we transitioned to Final Fantasy, the role-playing game, for a while called Fabula Ultima. We're going to be playing a Gundam-based role-play game over text in Discord. We'll be playing a Discord game of that. And for my starting mobile suit, we were able to pull starter suits from any mass-produced starter mech from any era, and I went all the way back to the original Mobile Suit Gundam. And I decided I wanted, and I used an app to recolor this. Usually the gun cannon from the original series is a bright red, and I decided I wanted to recolor it because it's going to be our suit, right? We can customize it a little bit. And so I recolored this using a recolor app. I recolored this gun cannon, and this is the mass-produced suit for the Federation from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. I always thought it looked cool with those really big shoulder cannons, and the fact that it could basically get down in almost a push-up position and just go into full cannon mode. I always thought that was just super cool. And now granted, they always were like the first machines to die in the series. They got punked all the time basically, but I always thought it looked cool. And so it'll be really neat to actually use this as my starter mech. And then of course, in a Gundam role-playing game, I'm sure we eventually get like full-on upgrades from mobile suits to to Gundams themselves. But I thought this was a pretty cool starting point. 3 a.m. time for some sack time. Stay safe, brother, for us. Good night, brother. I hope you are going to have a great rest and amazing weekend, brother. I bought one of those plastic boxes that has those separate little photo boxes inside multiples, and then we can use that to help me separate all my loose cards. Nice. I got a little like a long card box from Amazon myself recently. It was like $10 for just a really big long one, and it's got a couple of dividers, and it's also got like some magnetic clasps or whatnot. It's pretty nice. I could have gotten 3 of the cardboard ones, but I don't know. The other one, I just kind of liked how fancy the black one looked with its magnets and stuff. So yeah, so I've got a Gundam role-playing game coming up. Like that one, probably won't have a presence on the channel because it's text-based, unless I, you know, do some recaps for you guys. But that'll be a Discord game we're playing. I've got D&D coming up this weekend. After that, I'll have 2 4-hour sessions to edit up. And like I said, I need to do an introduction to the characters, and then just kind of a recap to catch us up to where we are now, and introduce you guys to my D&D group. And I think it'll be fun to have them on the channel. And of course, the big news is getting an army ready for a narrative event. So I'm excited for all of this, guys. And just like that, I think I finally covered everything I want to this week. So yeah, that brings us, we are about 9 minutes away from 10 o'clock. I'm starting a box of extra cards, saving 3 for a deck and 2 for the binder. Nice. Oh yeah, I've started a binder recently too, with some of the different cards that I have. One of them, I don't know if it's a $30 card. It is a ghost rare of majestic red Archfiend Dragon or something like that. But it's a ghost rare. It's one of those where it's like all silvered and hollowed out. And it's like $30 because, you know, it was really rare at the time, and, you know, it's just an older card now. It's not really in use as much anymore. But it's kind of cool pulling a ghost rare of all things, you know. I think it's probably the rarest card I've ever pulled. Actually, I don't even think I pulled it. I think my wife pulled it. It's in my binder now. Haha. Until she takes it back from me. I won't forget, you know, she got the gold medal in breaking. You know, the husband get right medal. But yeah, it's the coolest, rarest card in our collection, I think. A ghost rare. But yeah, being that it's not worth as much anymore, it may have a place in this deck, since it's, you know, Red Dragon Archfiend related. Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, Red Supernova Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend, Red Dragon Nova, Red Rising Dragon, Red Hot Dragon King Archfiend King Calamity. I just really messed it up. Red Hot Dragon Archfiend King Calamity, and Scarred Dragon Archfiend. Noble Knight won't pay much for most, so trash? Yeah, if you have bulk that you're not going to do anything with, I mean, you could always find somewhere to give them to. I think bulk won't, you know, really give you much value for anything, or, you know, you could just toss them. I had to read that a couple of times because Noble Knight is also an archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! In addition to being the website. But also other options are TCG Card Trader, and eBay. Yeah, commons and basic rates. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that is called bulk when it's just commons and basic stuff. Now, granted, you know, there are some, if it's something that's still heavily used, sometimes commons are still worth a few bucks, you know. Like, Oh, common to basic rares. Yeah, like some of those are still worth something, especially like staples and stuff like that. Like I think Mystic Space Typhoon still goes for a few bucks. You know, even flat, common dark hole, not dark holes, Regekis and stuff. So, oh man, I got to chatting. I forgot to mention a couple of other small bits of news. For instance, in Yu-Gi-Oh news, YCSs are the biggest competitions in Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, not the biggest. There's also the Grandmasters, but YCSs are some of the biggest tournaments to go to. And Las Vegas had a YCS competition for team events, and it was won by the team of Jesse Cotton, which is a multi-time world champion. I think at this point he's won so many that he's like the Ric Flair of world championships in Yu-Gi-Oh. So he's an absolute Yu-Gi-Oh legend. He's got his own YouTube channel if anybody ever wants to check him out. But Jesse Cotton, no surprise, won the team's competition with his teammates. I think all three of them were running the most meta deck of all time. Woo! Exactly. They're the most meta deck at the time. It currently is Ryziel, and I think all three of his teammates were running Ryziel. And it's crazy because it's like we see this thing in 40K. An overwhelming number of people, and I think it was like 60 or 70%, an overwhelming number of people were playing the Ryziel deck archetype. And we see that a lot in Warhammer too. Well, not so much lately because they've done a great job balancing it. But in the past, we've seen a lot of times where it's just like, one or two armies at the top that almost everybody is playing. And it's really cool how Warhammer has taken a lot of steps to introduce more variety at the top of the food chain. I think right now, Dark Elves are massively sitting on top. But in general, there's more diversity towards the top than a lot of times in Warhammer's past. But now we're seeing kind of that over in Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's just like one deck type just kind of sits at the top. Everybody's playing Ryziel. One of the channels I follow, Team APS / Amplifier, Cross Amplifier, did a discussion, I think 2 days ago, where they had a really great idea that at team events like that, I think, each team should be limited to one of each particular deck type, so that way the most meta thing isn't just spammed across the entire tournament. We're looking at what, 60-70% of all the same deck, could force more diversity into the top spots, so everybody would be forced to, I think it was Ryziel, is the number one deck type there, and Malice was the number two deck type there, and then there were others. Well, if you have the teams being like, well, one person can take Ryziel and one person can take Malice. Malice, by the way, is super cool because it's like an Alice in Wonderland kind of archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh. It's really cool. But then you got 1 and 2, and then people would have to start getting creative on that third type of, what's going to be the third person in the team's deck. And that would force some diversity into the game. I thought that was a really neat concept because it would be a great way to solve the everybody running Ryziel problem. So, no doubt they're going to take a pretty big hit in the next balance. There's an upcoming in April is a new ban list coming. So that's when they're going to balance the game again. And yeah, I think that's going to be, they're definitely going to see some adjustments there with, was a 60 or 70% rate at Ryziel. It's crazy. Anyways, we have reached 10 o'clock, guys. I have been rambling on about my excitement for the Warhammer Narrative event, my excitement for Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I appreciate each of you being here to chat with me as I talk my nonsense. If you guys liked tonight's episode, please make sure that you grab up the axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Drop us some comments down below, and feel free to be part of any of these ridiculous conversations. Check out that painting tutorial over on the miniatures paintbrush that I told you about. You can find that down in the link tree, the Friends of Wolfbrother Hobbies. And if you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, we would love to have you as part of the pack here at Wolfbrother Hobbies. Until next time, guys, stay frosty. You have a great night, too.